Hi, welcome to the Horror Vision Presents Blood and Coffee. I'm Sean, and today I have my coffee. I'm going to do You'll Never Find Me, which just hit Shudder last week. This is a first-time feature for a lot of people involved, and I thought they did a really great job. I had some issues, I'll get to that. Overall, this is a recommend, and I'll tell you why in a minute, despite my issues. So, this is written by Indianna Bell. It's directed by Indianna Bell and Josiah Allen. Cinematographer is Max Corkindale. And his two biggest claims of fame, which are pretty great, he was the camera C operator on the Mortal Kombat movie a couple years ago. We covered that. I'll put in a link right here. And I know there's a new one coming out. I'm not sure if he's involved in that. And then also, he was the first assistant camera on Nightingale, which is a movie I'm still totally terrified of, by the director of The Babadook, and composer Darren Lim. So everybody involved, this is pretty much their first feature, with the exception of Mr. Corkindale. And man, for a first feature, like, this movie has some problems, and really it's just the ending to me. And often the ending doesn't kill a movie for me. I've said a lot on our coverage of True Detective. I love the first season of True Detective, and I absolutely hate the ending. It doesn't keep me from loving it and rewatching it over and over again. This movie, I feel like, is worth a watch. And this is You'll Never Find Me. I feel like is worth a watch because the level of tension that the filmmakers and the actors create and sustain for 95% of this movie is absolutely miraculous. It might have helped that it takes place on a dark and stormy night, and I watched it last night, and it was dark and stormy. At, 1 in the morning, I'm watching the movie, had the windows open, the wind was howling, rain was coming down just like on the screen, so it really augmented my viewing. So there's two main actors that carry this movie: Brandon Rock as Patrick and Jordan Cowan as the visitor. And the basic setup is it's a dark and stormy night. Patrick lives in like a caravan, like a trailer in a trailer park. This is in Ireland, I believe. And he gets a knock at the door. And it's the visitor. It's a young girl who needs shelter from the storm, just wants to see if he can drive her down to her place or if she can use his phone. And we just really hold on that note for 95% of the movie. There's always a reason, and a good reason, it seems, why Patrick can't do what she wants. And so this drives the visitor into a frenzy at one point where she is convinced, and I mean rightly so, that he has nefarious intentions for her, and he's basically just bouncing it back like, you knocked on my door.
You invite yourself into my life and then act like I dragged you here.
And the interplay between these two is so fantastic. It's so well acted. And like I said, that the first 95% of the movie that hinges on this, like, it just doesn't get old. They're able to sustain this tension. There are points where we breathe a sigh of relief with the characters, and then it kind of resets and builds again. But it's done very, very expertly. I mean, for a first feature, this is very impressive, in my opinion. It builds to a climax that you kind of see coming, but to me, I might have saw it coming, but I didn't see the way they did it coming. And all hell kind of breaks loose. And that's where I encountered issues with it. I just felt like this is a movie where the filmmakers couldn't decide how to end it. So there were a couple moments where I was like, oh, stop there. And it kept going. And I was like, no. And then that would kind of happen again. And I'd be like, okay, stop here. And then it would not stop. And I get it. There's some good ideas interwoven in those multiple kind of stop starts, but I just felt like, where visually it really accelerated and matched what you expected, but I just felt like, as far as for the story, it just prolonged what should have been a more elegant climax. So, but overall, I really dug this flick, and You'll Never Find Me just hit Shudder. I think it's definitely worth watching, and you can look at the Shudder reviews, and really, I would say 90% of the people on there that are reviewing it are giving it 4 to 5 stars. I saw the word masterpiece a bunch of times. So this might just be my problem, you know? So I don't know. So that's You'll Never Find Me. And this is the Horror Vision Blood and Coffee.
pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus, MV20, soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI, Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive?
The world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure? Murder. From the twisted mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadowplay in Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus. Available where books are sold.